Hey guys, this is OddOneGaming. This is going to be another Dragonheir Silent Gods video. In today's video, I'm going to show you something that has been heavily requested in my comments, and that's going to be a free-to-play team to beat the Grave of Curse on stage 20 using as relatable champions. Actually, it's all free-to-play champions without using Zephy, right? Because Zephy is kind of like the cheat code for this one. Well, I'm going to show you a team that uses only free-to-obtain heroes, and it's gonna be a pretty fun one, so let's check it out. Now, before I jump in the video, I do want to mention that if you want to support me as a content creator, you can do that by using the code that you see over there, OddOne. Make sure you use both capital for the O's. It's pretty much, if you do decide to spend, I get like 3% of what you spend when they have that running. Currently it's not, but you know, just for the future. Also, if you do that, you get some free stuff. Plus, the more people support me, the more giveaways I'm gonna have. So make sure you use that code. Now, the team that I'm using is a pretty fun one, and like I said, it's only free to obtain hero. So first one's gonna be Urion as the tank. He's a really good one. Then we're gonna have Thorin as one of the healers, plus keeping my Urion alive. Then we have Vinyara. She's kind of like the key for this fight because she can remove buffs. She puts attack penalty, all the cool stuff. So she's definitely amazing for this fight. And then as my 2 damage dealers, I'm using Rava and actually what's her name, Usha, right? So yeah, I pre-recorded a run. Let's play this one out, but it's pretty much focusing on doing the skills at the right time with the 3 supports. The ones I'm talking about are going to be Urion, Vinyara, and Thorin. When it comes to Rava and Usha, they are pretty much full YOLO, or actually not quite full YOLO, but they go like every 18 seconds, whereas everybody else goes every 21 seconds. You're going to see, I'm going to show you the skill timings at the end, but the key thing is to put the shield and the ally protection, the buffs with Urion at the right time, then doing the healing with Thorin at the right time, and then also using Vinyara's ultimate at the specific time. Now, what do I mean about the right timings? Well, you're gonna see that the boss gets buffs at this point, but just before or as soon as that one happens, you're gonna see Vinyara and Urion doing their ultimates, and then we have Thorin doing it a little bit later. The reason why Thorin does the ultimate a little bit later is because that's a really quirky one and really important. He has a talent that I'm going to show you, obviously, the talents and builds everything, but Thorin has a talent that says after the healing he does, he puts a 10% damage mitigation, damage reduction. You see the one that keeps popping, damage reduction, damage reduction. Well, that's another buff that brings us some protection, or that's another buff that we have available for the boss to remove, because when the boss does the ultimate hit, he pretty much removes one of the buffs. So we have a ton of buffs. We have the invisibility from Thorin, we have that damage reduction, we have the ally protection from Urion, which is kind of like, instead of having shields, which is, it's kind of the key for this fight, normally you would want to have shields in here, because the more damage he does to your actual health, the more he reduces your max HP. You see that bar that keeps getting grayed out? Well, that's your max HP going down. So the more you lose, the worse. Now, the cool thing is, because I don't have a shield in this team, I actually have that ally protection from Urion, like I mentioned, and that allows me to forego the requirement of having a shield. Now, Vinyara is going to have a shield, Urion is going to have a shield, and also at the same time, you're going to see that my Rava will also have a shield from what's the name, from Vinyara. Then when it comes to Usha, she has a shield, funny enough, on her battle skills, right? You can see that shield that she places. Now, that shield doesn't always fall at the right times, so it's, you know, it's sometimes it can be a mess. And then Thorin's the only one that's left without, but it still works just fine. Now, the key thing also to mention is, because this is such a free-to-play team, right? This is so many free heroes, and I don't think I'm using any I think I'm just using one random mythic artifact, but you can see the damage that I did over here with everybody. There's a few key things that I definitely want to mention. So, I do have the 5-element synergy, and as part of that, I do have some of that boosted, and this is really important, the damage resistance. I do have some of the damage mitigation skilled up. It's not maxed, but there is a little bit of leveling up happening in there. That's why I didn't bring somebody like a what's his name. That's why I didn't bring somebody like a Garius in here. You could try, you could work with Garius, but I just wanted to do a full 5-man synergy, just showing, you know, putting this to work, because honestly it's pretty tough. This boss fight is pretty tough to do. Now let's look at the timings, and pretty much I'm gonna explain, like, if you don't use Urion, if you try and do it with Garius, then yeah, you can try and do that. It's gonna be, you know, it's tough to try and do this without Zephy, so it took me a few hours to look at this one, but let's look at the timing. So you're gonna see that Vignara, Urion, and Torin have the recast put at 21. The reason for that is we have the Frozen that gets landed by Vignara, and also pushing back a little bit of the boss's ultimate energy, which is 100%, but because we do it after the second skill reaches a little bit, 21 seems to be the right timing, so she always does it at the right time. The Frozen also puts recharge speed by 20%, right? The recharge speed penalty, which means the boss is gonna recharge slower. So the 21 was the ideal spot, as you notice. Now when it comes to first cast, Vignara is at 13, Urion at 12, and then Torin, like I mentioned a little bit towards the end, at 16, so that he can make sure, so I can make sure that he still puts the damage reduction up after he heals, so that the boss has another buff to steal, or like I said, another damage mitigation. Then when it comes to Rava and Usha, they go every 18 seconds. That's because Rava is going to be using a, what's it called, Puppeteer set. Now I put 12 seconds first and then 17 for Usha, because this one does damage over time, and Rava has the Witch's Remains. I want to make sure that the Witch's Remains lands before Usha does her hit. So ideally you would want to have like 9-10 seconds between them, but I put around 5. It seemed to work just fine. Now let's start having a look at the builds. First I'm going to show, as always, the talents. You're going to see I don't even have max talents, so there's definitely road for improvement. You'd obviously try and go with max talents, whichever makes sense. For Vignara, I just went the top side. For Torin, this is the best one that you want to go, and this is the one that I'm talking about. After healing, grants 10% damage reduction for 5 seconds. So obviously, because it's such a short period, you want to make sure that he doesn't heal too early before the boss's ultimate, because you want to have this damage reduction be up there. But Torin has it fully skilled up. Urion on the middle side, again, it's not fully skilled up at max, but you definitely want to do this, right? So you make sure that he survives more. It's going to help you for your Venom runs as well. Then we have Rava, which you see I barely started, right? Barely any talents on Rava. And then Usha, same thing. I would ideally want to have this maxed so she could do more damage. But you know what? This is all I had, and it still worked. Now, let's start having a look at the build. So when it comes to Torin, he is running the Solar King's Horde. You don't need it. I just don't have enough Essence of Creation because I'm not on the test server. This is my main account. So in order for me to compete, I have to try and use what I have. Like this, the Solar King's Horn brings us a little bit more damage, but you don't necessarily need it. Just any other artifact that makes sense on Torin, you're going to be using, and you should be just fine. Then I put Brotherhood Spirit on him, so whenever he does the ult, he can boost a little bit the damage for Usha, so she can kill the boss faster. Then if you look at Vignara, she's going to run a Ancestral Protection to soak up some of the damage that Urion's taking. And then you just want to make sure that she has enough accuracy. And the accuracy required for this fight is going to be 300, but because we already have the 5-man synergy, she gets that extra 50 from the elemental affinity, so she goes up to 330, so we're pretty good. Now, this one's not mandatory, however, it does make really good sense. You can see it's not maxed out, but using the Crown of Unclean brings you another defense penalty on the boss that can help you do more damage. In case there's not a big defense penalty landed from Rava, she can land this one as well. Because you don't care about too many things for Vignara, right? She's not going to be bringing a ton of damage, so just go with the Crown of the Unclean, Ancestral Protection, you're good to go. If you have some other better artifacts, right? Like for example, if you do have a Dawn Organ Pipe, you can try and give this one so you can get more damage for, more attack for Rava. It's not going to boost Usha, but you know, you can bring another damage dealer instead of Usha. As an example, maybe you could even use Dritz instead of Usha. I just did not want to use Dritz though then because, well, maybe some of you will watch this a lot later and the Dritz event might be done. So that's why I kind of went with this. But you can see pretty much her stats. Then Urion, he's again not even a maxed out artifact because like I said, I'm just, you know, low on Essence of Creation. But he's using the Mask of the Lark, which is going to give him more damage mitigation the more buffs he has. Also gives him defense percent and HP, which are going to be really good stats. Obviously, you would like to have this max. For him, you just want survivability, as much defense and HP as possible. You're gonna see defense percent here, and I actually chose to go with the Radiance of the Blue Oak on him, a 3P set, because if he does fall under 25% HP, he's gonna get himself to heal back up, and it's really helpful. It can be really clutch. It does trigger every 60 seconds, but it still helps. It still helps because coinciding with his passive, you know, you have several ways of just keeping him alive. At the same time, I gave him this mythic helmet, which is, you know, this doesn't help. I would have preferred to have HP, defense percent, whatever, but this is another failsafe, right? In case he's about to die, he can proc this immortality again, get damage reduction and whatnot, so you can just keep him alive. Then if we look at Rava's gonna be having Witch's Remains. Honestly, everybody should have Witch's Remains on their account, like, you know, unless you're extremely unlucky and then don't pull a dupe of any legendary when you play. But the Witch's Remains is the #1 mythic artifact that you want to buy, because it's defense penalty, right? It's the biggest version of defense penalty you can get in the game, so you want to have that. Now, I also put her, like I said, in the Puppeteer's Inspiration, because it's going to give us more ultimate energy, which means we can go more often with our Frost people, but the only ones that you want to go more often with is going to be Rava and Usha as the damage dealers, because, like I mentioned earlier, Vinyara and Urion need to go at those specific times during the boss's rotation. I also gave Rava a crit rate glove in the Strike the Unprepared, made sure that she had enough accuracy again to land her debuffs, because she's going to be not only landing the Witch's Remains, but also landing the Frost. Frost is going to be really important so that we can enable Usha to do some insane damage. But you can say just try to squeeze a bit of damage, but also try to keep her alive, right? Ideally, defense over here. I went with crit damage, but again, maybe defense just to make sure that you don't die. Let the damage be done by Usha. And now, if we're looking at Usha, you can use whichever is your best artifact, but because I try to make it as relatable as possible, again, I just use the Kui Crown, which is the artifact that everybody gets from the Divine Ascetic event, right? I don't benefit from the stuff that says over here. I just benefit from the crit rate and attack. It helps me, so I went with that. And then I kind of, you know, went with one piece of all the mythic pieces of gear that I have. Crit damage glove in the, again, Strike the Unprepared, because you're always going to be hitting after defense penalty. Then I'm going to have the Chaos Symbiosis, just, you know, 12% more attack. It's not a lot, but it does help. And then I went with the Fearless Challenge. This is one of the best ones that you want to make sure you have, because doing 16% more damage is going to be huge, as obviously the boss has higher max HP. And then a random piece over here that's attack percent with crit damage, crit rate, and whatever. Crit damage over here, and then attack over here. And Usha's total stats, you're going to see 3.8k attack, 92.3 crit rate, 231 crit damage. You don't care about anything else on her, just smash, smash, smash. Now, if you're not going to have all of these mythic pieces of gear that I used on Usha, just try and go with any one of the sets. You can go with Imperial Executioner, you can go with maybe Heart of the Gambler, because she's going to be doing lots of attacks as well. So any other set that makes sense for you, just go ahead with that. But you know what, when you're trying to do stage 20, which is the highest stage, you should be having a few random pieces, because as well as you can see what I have, they're not ideal. They're not like crit damage, crit rate, attack bonus over here maxed out. This one is a decent one with triple crit damage, but again, no crit rate, no attack bonus. And then the glove, again, no crit rate on it or any other. You know, these three don't help us at all. So you kind of get the gist. It's an endgame piece of content. I don't have this maxed out right yet, the, what's it called, the 5-man elemental synergy, but let me show it to you as well, just to see where I'm at. But obviously, the more you're going to upgrade that, the easier these stages are going to be for you. So, yeah, I kind of wanted to show stuff that's a little bit different. You can see I have like 7 over here, 4 over here. So there's still some more stuff that you can get, some more, you know, more damage mitigation from here. So it can get a lot easier. But if you're trying to push to that stage for now, this is the team that you can use, and hopefully it helps you out. But yeah, I guess we're gonna leave it at this for today. Thank you for watching. As always, if you do enjoy my content, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel to see when I upload next, and I'm gonna see you on the next one. Peace, love, take care, everyone. Bye, guys.